Forrester's application done through Aptical. Once you get your Forrester's ID, you will be then given an ID, username, and password for Aptical. This is where you do the application with the client over the phone. So let's log in. And it's very simple. On the upper left corner, you've got application. Language is already set, font size, everything else is set. But if you hit application here, you went to a new application, or if you've done an application, you've saved it, you could hit search applications here. You can download the application if you so choose after you complete it. I'll just get rid of that. After you complete it, you could download the form in the PDF file. And there's a rate calculator here as well. So if you want to go ahead and requote them for whatever reason, or if the quote's going to change based upon their medical questions or health questions, you can go into the rate calculator and redo the rate. But let's go ahead and do a new application. All right, it's preset to Forrester's. You pick the plan, right? Pick the state. I'll just pick Alabama. And here you can pick English, Spanish, and on the left box here, these are the pages basically. You could drill into any one of them at any time. If you, for example, are in the beneficiary section but you need to go into the payment information again, you could hit your previous button or just through here pick the payment information. So again, pretty simple, self-explanatory. You hit next. And this is the rate calculator that will pop up. So let's say the person is born December 25th, 1950. They're 62 years old. Now the premium draw date, this is where you ask the client, Mr. Jones, do you have a preference on when the policy would start? This is when the first payment takes place and the policy is effective. And you want to know that because you want to make sure that they're going to have funds in their account to make the first and continuous payments for their policy. So let's say he says August 15th. Folks, understand too, you can only go out 30 days. So make sure you let the client know if they do, in this particular case, it's set for, we're July 14th. If he says August 15th, can't do it. So just make sure it's within the 30-day window. That's as far as out you can go with the plan. So I'm just going to pick October 10th. Male, again, is he a smoker? The face amount, let's call it $10,000. Now, accidental death benefit rider, for you that don't know this, all it is that if they were to die because of an accident, they get hit by a car or a plane accident or bus, whatever it may be, if their death was caused by an accident, the insurance would double. So instead of a $10,000 plan, it would be a $20,000 plan. So what I tell the client at this point is say, Mr. Jones, I'm required by law to offer this to you, but you're not required by law to take it. And then I explain the accidental death benefit rider. Now, you got to give them a quote. So you can go put in $10,000, or theoretically you could put in less than that, but I don't. I match to their face amount. So, Mr. Jones, if you do elect to have this coverage, instead of it being $48 a month, or whatever you quoted him initially, it's an extra $2 a month, it would be $50.21. Would you like this rider? Most people are going to say yes to it because it's only a couple dollars more a month. But if he says no, then all you do is highlight, backspace, and then you hit calculate again to go back to your original quote. Make sure you do this. And then there it is. It goes back to the $47.58 rate. Again, if they're graded, if they're modified, you pick what you feel based upon your questions. When you initially questioned them on their health, you pick the rate that you most likely feel they're going to qualify for. So let's assume it's level. And then you just hit done at that point. And we'll put Mr. John A. Smith. For men, you have to ask them, are they a junior, senior? If not, not available, NA. Again, folks, this is very easy. Oh, I'm in Alabama. That's right, I forgot. I'm making this up. Most people don't have an email address, so just be prepared. You know, if they have one, great, but most of the time you're going to hear no. Their phone number. I don't ask for an alternate phone number. I just get their phone number. Birth state is Alabama. Now, at this point, I don't, after the birth state, I'll ask, Mr. Jones, what state were you born in? Okay, great. I'm not going to ask the social at this point. I'm going to go right to the height. I want them getting comfortable answering my questions. So I will go right into Mr. Jones, Mr. Smith, right? What's your height? 5'7", and your weight? It's 200 pounds. Okay, great. And just to verify you're an American citizen, what's your Social Security number? See how I asked that? Very nonchalant. And again, just to verify you're an American citizen, what's your Social Security number? If anyone brushes back on that, say, well, unfortunately, it's not my requirement, Mr. Smith. It's actually the insurance company requires it. You have to have a Social Security number and be an American citizen for there to be life insurance on you. Again, not my requirement. I'm not keeping this information. Also, by the way, Mr. Smith, you're going to get a copy of everything we're doing. So you'll be getting everything, but the insurance company does require this. Okay, thank you for giving me that information. And anything I do get going forward, it's just for the insurance company, not me. And are you currently insured with Foresters? No? Okay, hit next. Do you currently have any life insurance in force? Be careful with this question if you're doing an application in Texas. If they answer yes to this, you will not be able to proceed because Texas has this quirky law that they have to get something in writing stating that you're not going to replace any coverage. So figure out how you want to get around that, but just be understanding of it. Will this insurance applied for? Again, Mr. Jones, just so you know, if let's say he said yes to me, I would say just let you know that this insurance being applied for will not replace, reduce coverage, or modify any existing life insurance, okay? And you will be the owner of the policy, Mr. Smith. I keep on saying Jones, but bear with me. Mr. Smith, so you and only you can make changes to the policy. Hit next. Okay, Mr. Smith, so now we're on to the health questionnaire. These are going to be yes or no answers, okay? And what I'm going to do is paraphrase the questions because I want to speed through this quickly as possible, but accurately as possible, because after we get all done with this, then I got to keep them on the phone and grab a representative from Aplication, okay, where they're going to go ahead and ask these questions word by word. So I'm just going to ask it. I'm going to paraphrase the questions. You know, again, my goal is to get them to answer the questions, but also understand that the applicable representative will ask it word by word, so you're protected there. So, Mr. Smith, are you confined to a nursing home or nursing care facility? Do you require a wheelchair? In the past 12 months, have you been required or advised to use oxygen equipment? Been advised to have surgery, or do you have HIV? Have you ever received an organ or bone marrow transplant? Have you ever been diagnosed with ALS or congestive heart failure, AIDS, Alzheimer's disease or dementia? Have you ever had cancer? Now, just realize with the cancer question, right, it's asking if you've been diagnosed with more than one occurrence of the same or different type of cancer. So I'm not asking that. I'm just asking, have you ever been diagnosed with cancer? Now, if he says yes, and let's say he had prostate cancer, then that's when I'll go further into it and say, well, have you been diagnosed or has it with more than one occurrence of prostate cancer? Or do you currently have it? Now, again, excluding basal cell skin cancer. So if they say, yeah, I got skin, it doesn't make a difference. It's still a no. All right, so let's just say he said, no, I hit. Now, here we go. Okay, so I got a validation error. Maybe I didn't answer all the medical questions, so. Oh, see? It'll stop you folks from going if you don't answer all the questions. So I forgot to hit the no button for organ bone marrow transplant. So it's good. It will stop you if you make a mistake as far as not answering a question. On to the next page. Have you ever, in the past 2 years, Mr. Smith, have you ever been diagnosed with or received or been advised to receive treatment for medication for alcohol or drug abuse or illegal drugs? Now, folks, when they have diabetes, this is important, this question. When they take the pill, most of the time, rarely do they have retinopathy or nephropathy or neuropathy, okay? People that are insulin dependent, that's when you get like 50 to 60% of the time, they do have this. So, unfortunately, a lot of folks don't even know it, that they have retinopathy. If they have retinopathy or neuropathy, go back to your application because then they're modified, okay? So that changes your quote, obviously. So you really, if they tell you yes, when you're doing the probing initially to know how to quote them, you want to make sure you're asking this question. And, you know, sometimes you'll get people say, no, I don't have that. They're confident about it, so I would feel confident. Then I get some people, well, they'll say, what's neuropathy or retinopathy? Well, it's eye damage from being diabetic or nerve damage or even kidney damage. You know, are you taking any medication for anything like that? No. So just understand that because that can change your quote. If it changes your quote, you basically have to go back and redo everything on the application because you picked level. But now, you know, but you've got to find this out before you do the application. If they're diabetic, do they have this retinopathy or neuropathy? Okay, very, very important because you don't want to cancel everything you did. Go back, redo it. Client's going to get upset. So let's just assume I had asked him about he's not diabetic, so I'll put no there. Okay, in the past 2 years, have you had a heart attack, stroke, brain tumor? See how I asked that? Boom, boom, boom. Within the past 3 years, again, you said you didn't have any cancer, so I'll put no there. On to the next page. Have you ever had Parkinson's disease or lupus? Now remember, this is have you ever. So make sure you ask it. So have you ever had Parkinson's disease or lupus, liver or kidney disease, COPD or emphysema, chronic bronchitis? Great. All right, Mr. Smith, so that was just to verify that the quote I gave you was what I should have quoted you, okay? Again, I guess I took down the accidental death benefit rider, guys, but if you kept it there, if the client said yes, this would be pre-filled to the word to yes, so you don't have to do anything there. But I took it down, so it's still a no. Automatic premium loan provision, I always choose yes there. What that means is that the policy builds up, it's a cash value account attached to the policy. And what the loan provision states is that if at some time the insurance company goes to take payment from the person's checking account and there's no money there, that you're giving them to keep the policy active, they're giving permission that the insurance company can go into their cash value account to make that month's payment. So that's obviously important because if this client, let's say, is unconscious in the hospital, they have no money in the account, that's when they want to make sure that this policy stays active. So you're basically setting it up that for whatever reason, if they went into their checking account, money wasn't there, that they can go into their premium loan, the premium loan provision, they go into their cash value account to take the money out, keep the policy active. So I always pick yes there. Go on to the next payment. This is obviously pre-filled. And just to confirm, your answer to the question is a specific date being requested was. So remember, I chose, the client wanted it to happen in August. So what I say here is like, okay, Mr. Jones, just again, make sure you understand that nothing is going to take place till August the 10th. The first payment and coverage will not take effect until August the 10th. You want to reassure them that, okay? So you just want to say it that way so they're not worried about, because you're asking for their banking information soon, so you just want them to understand again that no payments being taken place here. We're getting the approval, but nothing will take place till that day, August the 10th in this example. Okay, Mr. Smith, now we're on to the beneficiary information. Now, folks, the beneficiary information could be quicksand. All right, what I mean by that is that you can spend a lot of time on there. Now, I don't, they have 3 kids, 5 kids. You have primaries, you have benefit, contingent. Again, you want to get what you need on this application. You want to be obviously accurate, but you want to do it somewhat quickly because you still have probably a 25-minute phone call with foresters. So they don't know this. That's going to take this long when you start it. But you want to kind of go through it quickly. So what I do is, okay, Mr. Smith, we're on to the primary beneficiary. Who do you want to be listed as the primary beneficiary? My son. All right, so we'll put Don Smith. If they ask, well, how many people can I list? Well, you could theoretically put 3 people as the primary. That's it, not 4. Only 3. Then you could put 1 person or 2 people, I forgot how many because I don't really do the contingent too much, as the contingent. But, you could either list all 3, or if he has 5 people, if he tells you, yeah, I got 5 people, 20% each, say, all right, well, what we can do at that point is the system will only allow me to do 3, and then I've got to have it add up to 100%. But you'll have to call new business and let them know that there is more people to be listed, and they'll ask you either for an email or a statement or what have you. The other thing that you can do to avoid all of this, because you'll spend a half hour just getting their name and everything, is say, well, Mr. Smith, I could go as far as from 1 to 3 on the primary, but once the policy takes effect, then you can call up the customer service and add, change the beneficiary and add your 5 people, and at 20% each. So, I always tell them that as well. All right, because that, again, I want to kind of get through this. I want them to be satisfied, but I want to also not get hung up on the beneficiary screen for 30 minutes. So let's just, for ease of use, say give me 1 person, it's a child. Now, the street address. Look, it's not important to have Don's street address. So I'll tell the client, if they don't have it handy, I'll say, okay, Mr. Smith, I'm just going to use your address. Okay. But if you do have his phone number, I will take that. So a lot of people, believe it or not, folks, don't even know their kid's mailing address. Or they'll say, I think it's this address. You can't think. We need to know. So, but I really try to get Don's or any beneficiary's phone number. I do want that. So let's just say he gives me that. And again, for ease of use, it's 100%. Always, always, always choose as this beneficiary irrevocable. Always put no. If you don't want to know what irrevocable is, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to tell you to go search it online. You need to know these things. Additional beneficiary. Again, if you put yes here, it'll open up another window for beneficiary. But again, just too easy. I'm putting no. Contingent. This is where you put the contingent. But I'm not doing that. Does the total sum of all primary beneficiaries equal 100%? It always has to, so you got to put yes there. Go on to the next page. Is the payer the proposed insured? The answer has got to be yes, doing voice authorization with Foresters. So the insured has to be the payor. Folks, find that out, because if he says, no, I'm going to have my son pay for it, well, are you on the check or checking account with your son? No, if the client says no, well, Mr. Smith, Foresters requires that you be the payor, your name be on the account. Do you have any type of checking or savings account? No, it's only going to be my son, his individual account. He's paying for it. Boom, I got to get him with American Memorial. American Memorial allows, Santa Claus to be the payor. They don't care. But for some reason, Foresters, they require the insured be the payor. Okay? All right, so again, he is the payor. Now, this is where I'm going to go into a little presentation part of it that I go into. Okay, John, so now we're into the payment information. What bank do you do business with? Wells Fargo, okay. So, John, just so you know, they ask for the street address. It's not that important. So I'm just going to put down Main Street, just so you're aware of what I'm doing. However, did you open this account in Jacksonville? Because you need to know that, folks. That you need to know. And, again, I messed up by putting Alabama, but, again, let's keep everything uniformed in Alabama. Okay, great. And whatever the zip code is. And, John, are you going to be paying out of a checking account or a savings account? Now, notice, I'm not going into the transit number or account number. I'm skipping it. I want him to get comfortable with me. So I go right into, and will you be paying it out of a checking account or a savings account? Checking account, okay. And what's that account number? So you see how I just tied into, I got him answering, and I just want to say, taking it out of a checking or a savings account, and what's that number? All right, so I wanted to, bridge it smoothly to the account number. Now, for you that don't know this, hopefully you do, on it, look at your own checks, because a lot of these people don't even know where the routing number is, where the account number is. So want them to look the bottom left corner with those numbers starting from left to right. The first 9 digits is the routing number. So I need those first 9 digits. Then there may be some sort of space or some weird ampersand, I don't know. But then there's another batch of numbers that should be anywhere from 6 to 11 numbers without there being any side of any space. So you kind of got to lead them into getting the account number. Guys, I've gone so far where they didn't even have a check. They had nothing but a debit card. You'll get that. Sometimes they'll read you their debit card. It's like, I think, 16 digits long. If it's 16 digits long, it's usually their debit card they're reading to you. And then you got to let them know, no, I need a checking account. And they may say, well, I don't have it. Okay. Now, what I do at that point is they don't have a statement, they don't have checking account, they have nothing. Okay, do me a favor, Mr. Smith, can you turn it over, the card, and there's a customer service 800 number. Can you read that to me? I'll actually get them to give me their 800 number to the bank, and then I'll conference call, let them know, or ask their permission, because I'm going to do a conference call with a customer service rep to get their routing number and checking account number right then and there. See, it's important that you guys get this accurate information, because you could submit it, but then all of a sudden August 10th comes along, and then after that, like a week later, you'll get an email from Forrester saying that was an invalid account. So then you have to call the client up, say, hey, it's an invalid account. Maybe I missed a digit. We got to get that information. It will happen. But you want to try to get as accurate as possible getting this information, because you don't want to deal with that. So I'll go as far as telling them to turn on or run their card, give me the 800 number, and I'll say, Mr. Smith, what we need to do then is I'll call and conference this in to Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo won't do it, though. So that's the one bank that won't give out the checking account number, believe it or not. They'll only give out the routing number. So let's assume it's another credit union or Bank of America. So we're going to call Bank of America. Mr. Smith, I'm going to bring you onto the call. However, once they come on the phone, you're the one that's going to have to talk. I can't talk. And you're just going to tell them that you need to verify your checking account and your routing number. They'll ask you for your Social Security number. They may even actually ask you for your debit card that you have in your hand right now. So please, do me a favor. We need those 2 numbers. Once we have those numbers, then we're done with the application. We're good to go. So is that okay with you, Mr. Smith, that we do that? Ask for their permission to do that, okay, because this is their account. They always say yes, for me anyway, and say, okay, fantastic. So just do me a favor, hold the line for about a minute or two, and then, I'm going to come back on the line. Now, when I conference to Bank of America, I'll dial the number, and then, boom, I'll go back to bringing him on the line quickly. I don't want him sitting there for a minute or two, really, because then he may hang up, and then you're stuck. So I try to dial in, and then I listen to the prompts. Let him hear that it's Bank of America, and then I'll do the prompts, and I'll make sure I'm like, Mr. Smith, you still there? Okay, great. And then go ahead and, make sure you speak. When they come on the phone, you need to talk, and do it that way. All right, so you got the information. What's it next? All right, this is the agent producer certification. You could read all of this. Will the certificate applied for be a replacement? No, 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 guys. Do not replace. I don't recommend it. You don't want to sell insurance, a policy. I mean, if they choose to replace it, they choose to replace it, okay? But you shouldn't be wanting to replace anything. So this is where I'll put my information. And just hit the box here. Today's Sunday the 14th. Hit next. Now at this time, right, so I've got Mr. Smith. Now I'm going to go into, all right, Mr. Smith, so, we're done, but let me just finish, because I don't want there to be dead silence while I'm filling this out. And in the beginning, you guys you have to read, what's going on and how to answer it. But you could, in the beginning, when you're doing this, you could say, okay, Mr. Smith, I'm just going to fill out my producer report. It's just asking me for my information, so just bear with me 1 second. And then we'll be done here. And you do it quickly. But once you get accustomed to it, I like to keep on talking and engaging with the client. I want them to keep being with me. But here we go. How long have you known the proposed insured? 0. Are you related to him? No. Did you meet with him? No. Was solicitation made by either phone or mail? Yes. Client's primary language, English. I don't know why they asked this. I've never bothered to ask foresters, number of people in the 25. So ask it. Are the commissions to be split with another producer? No. This is talking about internal replacement, that if they had a policy with foresters within the last 13 months, it will be considered an internal replacement, and that will affect your compensation. Should a certificate issue date be adjusted to save the insurance age? So you could actually I don't do this, but if they're 70 years old yesterday, you could backdate this to when he's 69, if you so chose, and then additional premium may be required. But I don't bother with that. The certificate always mailed to the owner. Remarks. This is where you could put remarks in. This is where maybe if there was 5 beneficiaries, there was 4 beneficiaries, but you have to, you only listed 3, but it had to add up to 100% when you did it. You could put, hey, client wants a 4th beneficiary, all beneficiaries to have 25% ownership. This is where you could do that. Put in the remarks in here. Now, live app pending, ready for review. If you're done and ready, you can hit the finish button. And then it'll go, and then you'll have to search for the application, pull it up, and call AppsCall at that point. If the client at any point in time this application says, hey, I got to go, you know what, something happened to my kid, not a problem. You can save the information. So at any page, whether it's the payment information screen you were on or the medical questionnaire, wherever you were, at the bottom of it, you'll have this status and description. And this is where you basically would hit save. So user action, and then you see this. You hit the. I'm sorry. You hit the stop button. I apologize. At any page that you're in, the client says, "Oh wait, I can't. I gotta call me back. I gotta do something." You hit the stop button on any page. Why that pending? User action, and you hit OK. That will save everything. On the other hand, if they tell you, you know what, I changed my mind, I hate you, which never happens, delete the application, you can delete it. But you could always hit stop at any point in the application, and then you hit OK. All right? So let's just assume, though, for our webinar here that I'm done. You know, he's ready to rock and roll. So let me just tell you how I basically, while I'm filling out my producer report, I say, all right, Mr. Smith, we're finished on our side completing the application. So, and now as I'm talking, I'm doing 0, no, 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 yes, you know, English. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get a representative from Applical on the phone, and they're just going to complete the application with us. I'm going to stay on the line with you. They will record the call for your protection, also to make sure I didn't make any mistakes. And they're also, Mr. Smith, going to ask you if I gave you or read you the notification and disclosure form. So I'm going to read that notification disclosure form right now, but just do me a favor. When they ask you if I've given it to you, please say yes. And the notification disclosure form, Mr. Smith, is that they're going to run 2 reports. Number 1 is the MIB report, and the other is the pharmaceutical report. These reports are part of the underwriting and will verify that all the information that you've given regarding your health is accurate. For example, you told me you don't have cancer. Well, by running these 2 reports, they'll be able to verify that. So they will be asking for your permission, but this is the 2 reports that they're going to be running for you to help with the underwriting. So again, when they do ask you, Mr. Smith, if I've given you, because I can't physically, you'll get this in the mail, but I have to read it over to you over the phone. Just answer yes when they ask you if I've given it or read it to you, okay? Great. Guys, just understand that you have to do that. It's on the application as well, so make sure, because they will ask the client, did the agent give you the notification and disclosure form? So that's all it is that you want to reach the client, they're running the MIB report and the pharmaceutical report, and tell the client why they're doing it. Client says okay. Now I'm hitting the finish button. Okay. And then this is your next screen. Immediately, you hit application. Now you want to search the application that you just did. Hopefully I don't have too many Smiths. Hit search. There it is. And what you need to do is write or have the ID number for Applical. So you're done. Your job is done. Now it's in the system. Applical now has the application on their end. They will pull it up by the ID number. So then you dial Applical, which is 866-844-9276. Again, this is on the Forester's website or in our back office, 866-844-9276. You dial it, and you're going to press 1 to speak to a live representative, and they come on quick. And they're going to ask, you just have to tell them, very, very important, that your name, okay, it's Dave D'Alessandro, got a client on the other line to the Forester's Plan Right voice authorization. Make sure you use the word voice authorization, because if you just say Forester's Plan Right, they're going to be doing something different on their end. You need to say Forester's Plan Right voice authorization, okay? And then they're going to ask you for the ID number. You give it, and then they'll verify who you are. They'll verify where the state that this app was done in, what your agent number is, what phone number you're calling from, and then if you read or gave the notification disclosure form, they'll ask you that to the client. You say yes, and then they'll say, do I have Mr. John Smith on the line? No, let me bring him on right now. Boom, you conference him in. Mr. Smith, Find out who that rep is at Aptical. Get her name. Write it down on the lead or on the piece of paper. It's Debbie. So you want to introduce Mr. Smith. I've got Debbie from Aptical on the phone. She's going to complete the application with us. Debbie, I've got Mr. John Smith on the line. Go ahead. And boom. Hit your mute button. Okay, I do. And then I could do other things, and I could, but in the beginning you want to really listen to everything to see how they do it. And, before you bring them on too, guys, a little heads up, don't be shy to say, Mr. Smith, I do thank you for your patience with this. So I'm going to bring the representative on the phone, and then we'll get this over with, and at least we'll know right over the phone if you've been approved. They're going to verify. It's going to be tedious, okay? But they're going to verify everything. You'll see what I mean by it being tedious. Once they get to the health questions, once they're done with the last health question, they will say to the client, okay, we're just going to check to see if we have any other additional questions. This may take 1 to 2 minutes. And then that's when you want to come back on the phone and say, okay, Mr. Smith, again, I appreciate your patience with this. This is where we're going to find out if you've been approved or not. If you have been approved, we'll just verify your banking information, your beneficiary information, and then they'll ask for your voice signature. We'll be all done, okay? And by the way, I'll give you that membership benefit hotline. That's the phone number to call Foresters when your policy is in effect to get all that information on the other benefits you get with this policy. Now, hopefully, guys, you explained a little bit of that, the fact that they get a will for free, created by an attorney, that if they have grandchildren or children, there's the school scholarship program, and then if there's a catastrophic event, they're entitled potentially, if they're affected by it, to getting some money from Foresters. But that will be in the packet. But you want to highlight that, that's a different subject, but you want to highlight that with Foresters when selling this product because that ties it in. That keeps the policy on the books. So you want to really highlight that. But anyway, once they get after that, you want to say that to the client, and then boom, the rep from Aptical comes on the phone. Hello, David. Okay, the data results for John Smith has been approved at the level benefit. And when that happens, guys, I always say, hey, congratulations, Mr. Smith. Make it a big deal. You've got it. You got it at the level benefit. So congratulations. Make it, like awesome for the client. And then they'll go and they'll finish everything up, and you're done. Hopefully that helped you get an idea. Once you get registered with Foresters, you will get set up with Aptical. Again, this can be done. There is also some information on Aptical online through foresters.com. All right, folks. Thank you. Good luck.